Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday evening session here at the Business of Adventure. My name is Katie Broadhurst, and I am very excited to be bringing you one of my favorite topics today. We're going to be talking about risk management strategies. So for those of you who are new to the group, firstly, I want to say a huge welcome to all of our new members. Thank you so much for being here. It is my biggest pleasure and delight to have you join us in this community to share your expertise, to learn and ask questions, and to, just be a collaborator in the revival that will be adventure tourism. If you haven't had a chance to meet me just yet, hi, I'm Katie, and I am an online business manager, formerly adventure guide, hiking guide, rafting guide, horseback riding guide, and all other plethora of things. A operations manager, former camp counselor, and program manager for Wild Women Expeditions. So the pandemic, of course, forced me to pivot away from being a hiking guide on the island of Newfoundland, where I was fortunate enough to be able to publish a book on hikes of Newfoundland with a couple of co-authors. What a fabulous experience that was. And shift myself online. So that is exactly how Peak Flow came to be. So this Facebook group is, sort of my, community outlet to be available to more people, to provide ongoing training and learning to the community, so that we can grow adventure tourism as a profession. I have been so fortunate to have gone to college and taken an outdoor adventure tourism business program at Algonquin College here in Ontario. And while not fully employed every year for the last, 13, 14 years, I have been able to, grow my capacity in working in tourism year round. So I'm here to share things with you that have been, learned and experienced over the last, decade and a little bit, both from being a guide in the field, being an international trip planner, working for one of the world's largest women's only travel companies, and share a lot of this stuff with you guys. So today, we're going to talk risk management. And this is really great because I just did a session last night over in the Yulee community where we were talking about duty of care. So I'm going to drop that link for you guys down below. And when you get a second, aka an hour, go over there and check that out. They brought in Aaron Fish of Wanderwell Insurance. And so he was really speaking to travel insurance and like how things have kind of changed in regards to COVID-19 and what policies kind of look like now, and how, yes, you can require your travelers to come with travel insurance. You just cannot require them to have a specific policy with a specific company. You can't take the choice away from people. So we are going to include that today in our conversation. And I want to let you know that you guys, because you are insider members, you're getting this information before anybody else. Because I literally finished writing all of this content this morning. You guys are seeing it live right here, right now in the Business of Adventure. And then tomorrow, this topic is going to be going live on our site as a new article over in the Adventure OBM articles section of peakflowobm.com. And we are also, you're going to get some insider tips and tricks and additional things shown to you today that not everybody's going to get access to. So that's also pretty exciting. I love being able to give you guys that like first glance and ask you guys for feedback. It's super, super helpful. So today, risk management strategies. Okay, so today I have for you 8 ways that you can apply risk management techniques or strategies into your adventure business. Like none of a lot of this high theory, like practical stuff, right? Because you guys know my big thing is keep it super simple. The KISS principle was something I learned in college when I was getting trained to be an outdoor guide. And it was something that I've just kind of tried to keep integrating in my own personal life, but also as an online business manager, when I come in to help or consult with adventure business owners, I try to keep things simple, all right? Because there's a lot of jargon out there, there's a lot of theory, and everybody's got a way of doing things. So really, you know, my approach is we're going to do what works best for your business, all right? And so these strategies that I'm going to share with you today, 8 of them in total, are what I consider to be some pretty critical pillar things that should be in place in your business. So just a quick roll back here, right? Risk management is a really huge topic. I think I have like 2 textbooks sitting on this table right now, all about risk management. And it's really what it is, right? Risk management as a tool in your business is a rational approach to how you're going to be dealing with the different kinds of risks that exist in your business, right? And we're just like going through a process that's helping us understand what exposure level is acceptable to the business, identifying and evaluating the hazards that are there, right? And then understanding how those different elements of risk are going to be managed day to day, trip to trip, year to year kind of thing, okay? So there's sort of these 4 main categories that are from my textbook that I really like as a foundation to keep it simple, right? We talk about business structure and insurance, okay? Trip planning and emergency response planning. We talk about staff selection and training, and we talk about client materials. And those are the 4 main ways that we're going to be able to manage risk throughout the business, all right? So watch the replay if you need to get that again. So what are we going to be doing today? Okay, we are going to be talking about 8 ways you can apply risk management into your business right here, right now, looking at these things. So I want you to come into this with the lens of like, how can my business avoid exposure to risk? Okay, if you're writing any notes, avoid exposure to risk is an important thing to write down. How do we reduce the frequency of a loss or reduce the severity of an incident, for example? How do we transfer risk away from you as a business owner and the business as a whole and send it somewhere else, or like evenly disperse it a little bit, okay? This is where insurance comes in, okay? It's a tool to transfer risk. And if you have to absorb risk, so the 4th way that we like try to manage it, how are you going to handle that inside your business? Okay, so avoid, reduce, transfer, and absorb. Those are your 4 like ways that you're going to like think about handling any type of hazard or risk that's floating out around there about this business, right? Can I avoid it? Can I reduce it? Can I transfer it somewhere else? Or last case scenario, if I have to absorb it, how am I going to do that? Okay, so 8 ways to apply risk management right now in your business. Number 1, always ensure that your guests are adequately informed, warned, and in agreement to the inherent risks that happen in adventure travel, okay? Plus, pro tip, know how to prove that they have been informed and warned about those risks. All right. So what's the goal with this strategy? So we're aiming to avoid right away, right? We want to avoid exposure to risk. And in this case, by ensuring clients are adequately informed is both ensuring nobody gets hurt and B, avoiding a lawsuit, right? And then we want to reduce risk, okay, by ensuring that guests are informed. Again, but the better informed people are, the more able they are to make decisions and show up prepared, maybe a little fitter, maybe having the right gear, right? Or the right mental framework to be able to tackle a really hard trip. If we have time at the end, I'm going to tell you a cool story. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can tackle number one, which is ensuring that your guests are adequately informed, right? But I like to keep it super simple. So make sure there's lots of information, right, throughout your entire marketing and trip preparation process, okay? So make sure clients also receive all their trip details in writing, right? Everything from mileage to elevation to expected weather to the duration of time it could take, descriptions of trails, detailed descriptions of accommodations, right? Using clear language to paint a picture of what that's going to look like. Particularly bathrooms, guys. People are often very particular about bathrooms, and when they arrive in a place like India or anywhere in Southeast Asia or even Peru and they have to poop in a hole, that surprises people who are used to a Western toilet, okay? So be super, super clear about toilets. Provide as many visuals as you can, right? Photographs of bathrooms, photographs of beds, not just a pretty view from the deck. Like, what does the place look like that they're going to be living in, right? Show them. Include topo maps and elevation charts. Maybe you want to host a webinar, right, to help support some ambiguous concepts, like the level of difficulty of something, right? Pictures worth 1,000 words. So save yourself the hot air and go take some pictures, some photos and videos of different pieces of the activity, right? Provide your guides with a day one orientation script. So what do you do when the group first gets together? What's the routine, right? And how do we talk about how we travel together and group expectations of behavior, and just be available to answer questions, right? Review the order of the activities, talk about how decisions or route could be impacted by the weather, really be upfront with a lot of that stuff, right? And then make it really clear that if there are important things that clients need to do or review prior to the trip, that you make sure that those get done, okay? So what's so exciting to me about being in partnership with Yuli is that within their software, we can create tasks that allow us to see if clients have completed a piece of the trip preparation, right? So that is a really cool feature, and it's way more effective than trying to keep track in a spreadsheet who signed their waiver and who submitted their registration form and who's got their visa and just all of this stuff. It gets pretty painful. And you're talking to the girl who was the queen of implementing spreadsheets back in the day. And I have since learned a whole lot and know that there are better ways of doing things, okay? So a spreadsheet is, you know, an easy default, and it feels quick and simple. And yes, it's a free tool, but unfortunately, it's not very scalable, okay? It requires a lot of people time to keep it updated, okay? So I'm just rearranging a few tabs here so I can show you guys some stuff, and I've had to move my face out of the way. Yeah. And now I want to share my screen with you just to give you this quick glimpse. Okay, that's coming through. Great. So this is what the tasks system looks like in Yuli, just to give you guys a quick glimpse if you're not familiar with this piece of software. You set up all your things that your clients need to do, right? Do their registration form, sign their waiver, review the cancellation policy, submit travel details, secure travel insurance. These, to me, are the 5 must-have in every trip booking process elements. And by creating them as tasks, right, we get to tell clients when they are due right here, right? So you can see 0 days after booking, due now, right? 0 days after booking, 0 days after booking, okay? We can set up the system to send reminders. We can select the system to, do they just check the box when they're done? Do they have to fill out a form? Do they have to upload a completed document for us, or a copy of their passport or whatever, right? And over here, the system keeps track of, how many people have filled this out. So if you had 10 people on this trip and only 2 responses, you're still missing 8 people. Boom, at a glance. Yeah, amazing. You can edit the questions, copy the tasks, and all kinds of good stuff. You can also go over on Manage People and see per person, right, who's engaged with their trip page, and you can look at their traveler trip board on an individual basis to see quickly down here, right, this person hasn't done anything. That Katie, I tell you, sometimes she's just the troublemaker. Anyways, so you can keep track per person, but also on a group scale. And guys, if I had this software 4 years ago, game changer. Absolute game changer. So that is way number 1. And it leads to way number 2, or tip number 2. Use a trip approval process to screen clients into your adventures. If you're curating a very special experience for your travelers, whether it's families that are traveling together for a long period of time, groups of women that are traveling together for a long period of time, a group of travelers who are embarking on a, Grand Canyon rafting for a month together, you want to make sure you got the right people, right? Group dynamics can be a make or break for a trip. You guys know that. So let's screen in both for skill level, fitness, and personality, right? Are they the right fit for this adventure? And it's not easy, okay? I make it sound like this is easy, an easy thing to do, but it is not easy to get the right people every time. And sometimes people fall through the cracks. So this helps us avoid, right, the wrong person coming on the trip, a person who's not fit enough coming on the trip, therefore would later be disappointed, a person who is not quite ready for a, rural India adventure because they're just too caught up in their modern amenities. And it also helps us reduce risk, again, because we're collecting all their information, right, to helping to screen people in so they don't get hurt, hopefully, right? I do recommend that you aim to tailor your registration forms per trip type, specifically the combination of activity multiplied by destination, okay? Because hiking Everest Base Camp in Nepal requires different information than hiking to the Inca Trail in Peru than Kilimanjaro in Africa, right? Although they're very similar types of trips, and yes, a lot of the hiking questions are going to be the same, it's the actual in-country questions that are a little bit different, right? Because for Nepal, they need to provide you like a picture for their permit to the national park, and on the Inca Trail, you just need a passport, and for Tanzania and Kilimanjaro, you need proof of yellow fever vaccine. So it's all just slightly different. So those registration forms, you can create one that's like hiking above 10,000 feet as 2, right? And then just customize them per destination as you apply them into your trip. And that's something that's really cool about the Yuli platform, is that you can really customize stuff per trip, and then just duplicate it later. I love that saving time thing. So in my blog post that I'm publishing tomorrow, there's a whole damn list of stuff that you should include in your registration form. So you're going to go there and you're going to look at it all and make sure that you are checking off those boxes that, yeah, I got something like that. Yeah, I got something like that. Yeah, I got something like that. Okay. Number 3, it's really important that you never, ever promise to keep people safe. Okay? You can brag about your clean safety record, and you can brag about the month you spend doing staff training and how qualified your guides are and all that kind of stuff. But you can never promise to keep people 100% safe. Okay? Because you cannot prevent a natural disaster from happening, right? Earthquake in Nepal, right? Hurricanes, all kinds of stuff happens when you're traveling. You guys know this. So just make no claims to keep people safe, right? And then I really think within your communities, whether that's on Instagram, going live like this in a Facebook group, getting on a webinar, with your clients before the trip, have an open conversation about some of the natural hazards that, exist in the area that you're going, because a trip to Costa Rica might sound super safe, but you know what? Somebody could still get bitten by a tarantula, or God, bitten by a monkey, and get rabies. Like, I know, and we can't account for every stinking thing that could happen to somebody. So you just have to have these, educational kind of open conversations with people, especially if you're working with, youth, kids. They're, kind of quick to maybe like run and touch something, right? And then they're kind of like dogs that will put everything in their mouth when they're really little. So, have these conversations with parents too, because you're not, somebody said yesterday in the Yulee group, and I love it. You're not in Kansas anymore, right? You're in a new place with new animals and, new weather and new conditions and new hazards that you're not familiar with at home. Okay. So just, don't promise safety, and then do your best to have really open conversations with people about what they can expect. Okay. Number 4, make sure all guides have wilderness first aid or equivalent, right? And any activity-specific certifications. So whether this is your own guides, right, and you get to train them and get them up to par and vet them personally, or if you're looking at partnering with local tour operators, these are great questions for you to ask as part of your screening process, right? Do your guides have a first aid certification? Can you tell me which organization certified them and what level they are certified to? If you're including rafting, is there a raft guide certification like in Costa Rica? I don't know. Do they? I don't know. Do we in Alberta? Hell yeah. Glacier Rivers. I was trained here on the Ottawa River, class 4 or 5 whitewater, and I had to retrain when I went and moved to Alberta because the river dynamics are totally different. The water's colder, faster, and rapids are more frequent. So I had to retrain entirely to go work in Alberta. I'm in the same country. So that's the terrain change, right? Drop pool warm river versus glacial alpine river, right? So they're two very different things and require different levels of training and experience to be able to guide and lead groups safely through those two experiences. And if I was going to go be a raft guide in Africa, I'd probably need to do some training again, right? Because again, different river, different environment, and different hazards, including crocodiles. Okay, so guides really need to have first aid and activity-specific certifications. Number 5, each trip really needs to have a written emergency evacuation plan, right, that is regularly reviewed with guides. So again, if you're a local tour operator, this is something that's pretty straightforward for you to put together on a sheet of paper, right? This is where the trip is happening. These are the evacuation points, and put in like GPS coordinates or the road that it's on or something, right? Put a quick grid there of like who to call, their number, or what radio channel frequency to be on, and who to ask for and how to ask. It's important people know how to communicate, like with the Coast Guard, for example, if that's going to be part of the rescue mechanism. And that should be part of your annual training that you go over every single year with your guys, right? And run some scenarios as part of training, just so that that's like fresh and get people thinking again at the start of the season. If you are a third-party tour, like reseller type, so you have like a type of thing you like to offer, but you actually work directly with local operators. They deliver the program on the ground. They provide the guides, the gear, and the transportation, let's say. This is the question you want to ask up front before you even make an offer to partner again, with do your guides have wilderness first aid? Do they have any type of certification? And then do you have emergency and evacuation plans? And can I see them, right? It's not always good enough to just take somebody's word for it. You want to see those documents. So you want to see that they do have something in writing that at least, outlines the route of the trip, where the evacuation points are, and, the resources, who are they going to contact, and any other guidelines that the company has around that, evacuation decision-making matrix that needs to happen, okay? So get copies of that if you can. And if they don't have them, it doesn't have to be a deal breaker necessarily if there's not a whole lot of operator choices, but I would seriously be putting that as like a yellow flag, and then telling people that it has to be developed for my trip, right? And if you are, really dedicated to building the relationship, helping these local operators put some of these policies and practices in place is our way of collaborating in the community, okay? I don't want this stuff to sound like, if this operator in El Salvador doesn't have an emergency response plan, I can't partner with them, and I need to go work with some like bigger company corporation thing. Like, no, use it as an opportunity to teach and collaborate with a local operator, help them put an evacuation plan in place so that you can partner with them. It still meets your criteria, and you're also helping to level up their level of professionalism on the ground too, right? It's these little, let's say, trades and ways that we can give and teach and share and coach each other that's going to really help grow the community in a holistic kind of way. And the adventure community is a community, right? We're here to help each other foster these types of experiences. So if they don't have something, share with them a resource, how they can put it in place, and say that once they have it developed, you'd be happy to reconsider partnering, right? If you don't have the capacity to help them. Invite them to this Facebook group, right? They can come here, they can learn, they can put a risk management plan in place wherever they are in the world, okay? And this is something that I'm on a mission to help the community as a whole do, right? It's so that we can all work together, we can partner easier, we can all kind of be on the same page, because now a tour operator in El Salvador knows that most people who are asking to partner with them want to have an emergency evacuation plan. You know what? They're going to go figure out how to make an evacuation plan, and they're going to learn that, and they're going to teach it to their guides, and they're going to get better too, right? So this is how we want to grow and communicate. Okay, so that's enough of number 5. Number 6 is use a properly drafted liability release form. So caveat, this is not always required for every country. So I just remember working with partners in Iceland, they don't require a waiver to be signed. It's just not something that they do, either culturally, or their insurance doesn't require it, or something there that doesn't require it. So in North America in particular, this having a waiver thing is actually required for our businesses in most cases, at least in Canada, to even uphold our insurance policy, okay? But a release form or a liability form, waiver form, whatever you want to call it, is really good at 3 things, right? It helps us avoid litigation, because it can be just enough to deter somebody from actually like chasing you down. 2, it could reduce the severity of the litigation, for example, right? Because they still take you to court, but you offer to do a payout, and your insurance policy, your commercial liability policy, helps cover that. So it reduces the severity, right? They don't take you for everything you're worth. They just take you for $100,000 or whatever, right? Or it can help transfer that, which is where the insurance comes into place, right? So by implementing your waiver correctly as per the directions of your insurance provider, you are able to transfer the risk of a client getting injured over to the insurance company. Okay, I hope that helps things feel a little bit more clear. But it's also a really good way to help reduce injuries, because a lot of our waivers actually include language about some of the hazards that can be encountered, right, along the way. So it's just another way to put that in front of clients to make them aware of some of the hazards that are inevitable with going out into the outdoors, particularly the outdoors that they're not familiar with, right? So it's just another really good tool in a lot of ways. So in this blog post I'm going to share with you guys tomorrow, I've outlined like a whole thing on waivers, right? When you should deliver the waiver, that you should be available to answer questions about the waiver, the order in which you should present the waiver, and a whole bunch of stuff. So it's all here in the blog post. And I think it's fairly comprehensive and should really help you guys like consolidate in your mind, like where the waiver kind of needs to live throughout the booking process. Okay, because it's not just one task in ULE and that's the first time they're seeing the waiver, right? So it needs to be interwoven throughout the, you know, shopping, evaluating process, the decision to buy process, and the trip preparation process there, okay? So number 6 is have a good waiver and deliver it properly. Number 7 is that you should be maintaining commercial liability insurance and be ensuring that your clients secure travel insurance to come on your trip. If you are a local tour operator and you're primarily working with clients who are from your region, here in Canada, we have provincial health care. So if you are, you know, if I wanted to go river rafting on the Ottawa out here in my backyard this weekend, I wouldn't need travel insurance to go do that, okay? Because I have Canadian health care and I will be taken care of in my own country with that. State to state, there might be some distinctions there. I don't really know a whole lot about the American health system. So you may need additional coverage to even travel, you know, to Alaska or, you know, California if you're not from those states. But certainly as soon as you leave your home country and or state or province, you're going to want to make sure that those travelers have coverage. So if you want more info on that, go over and check out our discussion from yesterday, all about duty of care and travel insurance on the ULE community page. And if you are here today, then I would just say that it needs to be a task somewhere in your trip preparation process that people need to prove to you that they have it, it's valid. And ideally, they should be showing it to the guide upon arrival in country as well, okay? Some other ways, and the reason, so insurance, the purpose of insurance is to reduce the severity should you get sued, or if somebody gets hurt in country, you don't have to fork out of business money to take them to the hospital. And also transfers risk away from you and the business, right, over to the client's travel insurance policy or back over to your business policy, okay? So that's what insurance does. It helps us reduce or transfer risk, okay? There's a couple other little business strategies I just want to throw in here really quickly that can help you transfer or reduce risk. Number 1 is incorporate your business. Okay, make it its own entity and remove yourself as the sole proprietor or partnership person who would then be 100% responsible for dealing with any lawsuit stuff, okay? Incorporate. That's the first way to transfer the risk, right? Put it over on the entity, the business. Number 2, the corporation then should maintain commercial insurance, errors and omissions, probably some business interruption insurance, for things like natural disasters, aka fires in BC and all the smoke that's up there. It's keeping people from doing stuff this summer. Some business interruption insurance would kick in and help you get some money back to get through the season, right? Then your travelers should have travel insurance to join the trip. So that at a minimum should include medical, evacuation, and repatriation, okay? Medical is if they get hurt and they need to go to the hospital, but you can get them there. Evacuation is they actually need to be rescued, probably by a helicopter at worst. And repatriation is getting their body, whether injured and alive or dead, back to their home country, okay? And that's a very expensive process. So we want to make sure that, you know, if someone's, it's not just protecting the business, it's It's actually about protecting the traveler's family too from financial ruin. Okay. So again, thinking about stuff in a really holistic kind of way, right? This education that you do to your travelers to say, no, we need you to have travel insurance. Here's why. It's not just to protect the business, right? It's about them and their financial situation and their family financial situation. Okay. We don't want someone's trip abroad to have to ruin them. My mom was telling me about her trip to Australia 2 years ago, and they met a woman there who had been horseback riding in Australia, and she had broken her leg. Okay. They were on a 3-week holiday or month-long holiday from Denmark. She broke her leg on week 3. So they're like almost on their trip. This woman was unable to fly for 6 weeks due to the potential of flying while your body is healing can sometimes give you a blood clot and give you a seizure, cause all kinds of problems. So she was recommended by the doctors not to fly for 6 weeks. Imagine if you had to stay in a first world country for 6 weeks, staying in hotels, Airbnbs, with a broken leg. Okay, you can't fly. Now you need to rent a car to get around. You got to rent a place to stay. You still got to pay for stuff. You had to get your leg fixed in the hospital. They were probably there for like a day or two, right? Depending if it needed surgery or not. And then they had a whole bunch of stuff planned for their last week. They were going to fly to a different area in Australia. So they can't get that money back for those flights if you didn't have travel insurance, right? So just think of those implications. We ran the numbers quickly. It's like that could easily be at a minimum like $20,000 because you fell off a horse and broke your leg in another country, right? So just like that's what we want to protect travelers from having to deal with is the burden of the cost to be taken care of if they have a bad accident on a trip. Okay. It's not just group trips. It's like they get hurt before they even join your trip, or they get hurt after your trip. Like we still want them to be taken care of. Okay. So that is a whole bunch of stuff right there on insurance and reducing and transferring risk. So number 8 way that you can implement risk management right away into your business, and one of the easiest things you can do right now after this is to have clear customer complaint processes and generally just outline every stupid detail within your terms and conditions. All right. So I'm a really big fan of not reinventing the wheel. So go find a template. Go look at what other companies are doing, right? Do some research, be nosy, click through stuff, sign up for things, right? Until you find something that feels really good for you, and then model it. Okay. Don't write a friggin' terms and conditions from scratch. Go look at G Adventure's website. Pick out sections that are relevant to your business that make sense, right? And they're one of the biggest industry-leading travel companies in the planet, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. Go model something that already works, right? This is how we leapfrog ahead generally also as humans, right? We learn from others and we model it and we implement it differently and better and we expand on it. So they have a really good section, 2 sections actually on there, section 16 and 17 on the G Adventures terms and conditions page. Okay. It's a leading example of setting the terms of what clients can expect if something doesn't go as planned. Okay. Both before the trip happens and while the trip is happening and what their course of action is. Okay. So this I put on here because yesterday at our Yuli chat, Jen gave an example of a friend of hers who sort of had a situation arise on the trip. And I remember with Wild Women that the Wild Women policy was, your first course of action is you must talk to the guide, the local guide, and like express your complaint verbally, right? And give the guide and the local tour operator time to adjust or fix whatever the issue is, right? Like if you got put in the wrong room, right? Like don't wait until after the trip complain about it. Like go downstairs to the front desk, talk to them, talk to the local guide and try to get it fixed, right? Second course of action is to email the customer service team at the company that you booked the trip with. So make sure you get a complaint that is more than just, I got put in the wrong room, in writing, right? People need to, and within like 24 hours or 48 hours of that thing happening, subject to there actually being service, right? We know there's not always good, cell service or internet on some of these trips. So that's why we make the local guide the first point of contact. Second point of contact is that it should be, provided in writing, okay? And then only after that the company has had time to like respond to that, then do you like move it up the ladder, let's say, right? So just make it really clear how the traveler is supposed to do that, so that if they don't talk to the local guide or they don't send their complaint in writing, like right away, like on the trip, right? As soon as the trip is over, if they come back and they're complaining because they were in the wrong room on day 3 of a 14-day trip, tough shit. Like, let's be honest, right? We can be honest here. Tough shit. Okay. Some people you're never going to please, guys. And it's really hard as a business owner to take that, negativity when people come back and they're unhappy, right? You wanted them to go genuinely have a really good time and enjoy their trip. And it hurts when people are not happy. I understand that. I've felt it. I've been there, right? And I've cried in frustration over it probably too many times, right? So we as business owners and guides also have to come to this point, which is like, some people are just really hard to please, and it's probably not your fault. They're actually probably dealing with something else in their personal life that they can't verbalize or they can't handle, and they're kind of bringing it out on the trip, unfortunately. So that is really tough. But I definitely encourage you to go and look at other adventure businesses' terms and conditions, see how other people are handling these various situations, right? Present that information up front. You saw my Yuli task that said, come review our cancellation policy, right? Force them to read it. If they're not going to read it before they pay you money, and they're not going to read it on their receipt or their paid invoice after, make them read it when they sign up and they complete their registration form, and they got to read the cancellation policy, right? Or the terms and conditions. Like, put it in there, make it a thing that they need to understand, okay? That way, because remember I said at the top, we need a way to prove that people were asked to review these documents, and here's how we tried to make sure that they saw it. It was here on the booking page. It was here on the receipt. It's here on their paid invoice, right? They got it sent to them in the email. They had it as a task on their Yuli thing to read it. They manually have to check that box off to say they did it. They did that and they didn't read it. That's just their word, right? As far as the system is concerned, we have done our due diligence in trying to inform them, and if they choose not to read it, okay. My partner Will tells me not to swear, and I'm really sorry if that is offending anybody. It's sometimes just part of my personality, and it's not, I don't actually consider it a swear word. But that's what I just want you to take it away, right? That sometimes you just have to tell clients, tough bananas, right? Sorry. That's part of adventure travel, right? It's not always rainbows and lollipops. Sometimes it's bug bites and humidity, or really cold nights where you're chilling in your sleeping bag. Okay, so you've done all that stuff, and that's fabulous. So that is your 8 ways that you can implement risk management strategies into your business right now. Blog post coming at you guys tomorrow. As soon as Charlotte and I get the pictures in and make it look pretty, we'll publish it. You'll be the first to know, and it will come out by email. So if you are keen on hearing more about this stuff and getting our latest articles, be sure to sign up for our emails. If you're not sure how to do that, you can message me. But there's email opt-ins on my site in a few places, so you can go drop it in there as well. Okay, so one last thing. I have a very exciting reveal that I want to show you guys. Okay, let me, I need to go back to this window. Okay, perfect. And then add to the stream. What is this? Oh my goodness, it's another beautiful website. So this guys, is Paudia. And I'm very excited to present to you for the very first time ever our training and online learning portal. Ta-da! So this is a platform that we have chosen to upload a whole bunch of really awesome stuff to. So you've seen that we've been creating some templates, and I'm just sort of trying to pull together some additional resources for you, mini courses, and I've even toying with the idea of running a group program. So if that sounds cool to you and you're super keen on like working with a group of business owners to develop something like a risk management plan, hit me up. So this is what the portal is going to look like. If you decide to sign up for anything here, you'll be able to come back here and log in to access all the resources that you've signed up for, whether free or paid, okay? And you can always send me an email just by clicking this button, okay? So if you have new content or something you need, hit me up right here. So here's a quick look at what we have available so far. Here is our Adventure Business Software and Services database, okay? So this is a course in Podia because I wanted it to be a live link in Google spreadsheets that I could keep up to date for you guys. So it's not actually a course. Sorry, that's misleading. I can't figure out how to change the text on that button. It's a free piece of thing that you can access. So you can click to view it. And then if you want it, you can just sign up, put your email in, and it's all yours, okay? Here is our group program that I'm toying with, okay? So we're gonna have a quick look at that. Here's another free download, the software setup checklist. So if you're in the process of implementing some new software in your business, this is free, come and get it. I'm gonna walk you through all the steps you need to do to make sure that your software is set up right the first time, right? And of course, our risk management template. I am just polishing off the appendix section, which is like the incident accident report form template, the evacuation template, the, oh my God, what else do I have in there? I have a whole bunch of templates. There's like 8 of them that are going to be in the appendix at the bottom so that you can print them off or fill them out and store them in your digital office and have them as a tool in your business. So this is going to be really, really cool. And it's this template and talking risk management that we're pretty much going to do like together in the group program. So the template option is here for those that just want to get the document and get rolling, right? And the group program, my thoughts on this are that we will go through the template together. So we're going to all get on Zoom. I'm going to keep this to a max of like 8 people, I think. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards, so that we can actually have time, you know, when we're together for 90 minutes, everybody kind of gets like, you know, time to ask questions and get heard and share stories and things. Like I want it to be a collaborative thing. So the plan is to spend about 2 hours together for 6 to 8 weeks, max like 8 people with me. And we go through the risk management plan section by section together. And I like show you where to fill out things. We have discussions on things like your philosophy of your business, your approach to your teaching progression. We talk about things like what certifications do you need in your country for your activity, right? And what are your standards going to be for your business? And we talk about, yeah, just all kinds of stuff like that. And then you can fill that out in your own version of the template. So you do get the template also as part of the group program. The addition to that is the 6 to 8 weeks, 2 hours a week with me in the group, talking about stuff and holding you accountable to getting this risk management plan done, because it's no good if it ain't finished. Okay, so we're gonna have a quick look at that here. So right now this is still kind of a draft, so you can sign up here if you're interested. That'll get you on like the hot list. because I don't think it's going to start until like November, because I still have some work to do. And I have a couple clients who are kind of interested right now for like a November 1st sort of start. They need some time to like decompress from the summer season and get some travel in, and then refocus on this kind of the end of the year. And as you can see, I haven't finished setting up all the different like sessions, but there's going to be, I think, 8 sessions is what I'm leaning towards right now. And we're going to go over like each of these sections together on Zoom. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I think it's going to be Tuesdays for 8 weeks, and we're going to do this together. Okay. Anyways, if that is of interest to you, sign up, and I will make sure that you are in the know. If you are keen on that, you can also just send me an email or a Facebook message or an Instagram message, whatever floats your boat. I will see it. Actually, probably Charlotte will see it first, and then she'll tell me about it. But either way, I will get it. So, guys, really stoked to get your feedback on this. Let me know what you think. If you have comments about our risk management chat this evening, drop them below. If you have questions, drop them below. Stay tuned for the new blog post. And until next week, I will say bye for now and have a fantastic rest of your week. All right. Bye, guys.